UFC 322 airs this weekend, November 15th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm about to run through my picks, predictions, breakdown, give you guys all the good stuff. You already know how we coming. Looking to go on an absolute heater again this weekend. Throw a like down, throw a subscribe, and if you're seeing this on TikTok, throw a like and a follow as well. I appreciate the love. We're just doing what we love to do here, talk about sports, bet on sports, whatever else I got to do with sports. So we're going to hop right into it. We got the first bout of the evening, a middleweight contest between Bysangor Susarkayev and Eric McConaughey. So this one, what does it look like? It looks like a setup fight for the undefeated 24-year-old Dagestani, whatever the fuck he is, homeboys with Hamzat Chimaev, to get a highlight reel knockout. Eric McConaughey has 3 losses. All 3 of those losses come by knockout. So, full camp, Susarkayev is going to probably, if I had to take an educated guess, dismantle Eric McConaughey. He's a minus 800 favorite, minus 900 probably at this point. So, yeah. I'm on the popular pick here. It's going to be Bysangor Susarkayev, maybe round 1. I don't know. Round 1 is scary just because, we've seen Eric McConaughey last into the later stage of a fight before against Nursultan Ruziboyev, who is a very experienced fighter. Susarkayev maybe has a higher ceiling, but at this present moment, I don't even know if I would pick Susarkayev to beat Ruziboyev. So Eric McConaughey has a little bit of durability. Round 2 knockout could be live for Susarkayev, but either way, we're going for him by knockout. And then we got a strawweight bout between Angela Hill and Fatima Klein. Angela might finally be over the hill. And Fatima Klein is a pretty solid young prospect. She's decent on the feet. She has solid grappling. She did well against Jasmine Jasudavicius on her short notice debut. I'm pretty sure that was on short notice. It was impressive to me. She lost that fight. I think that's her only loss. But since then, she's looked pretty good in the UFC. For me, I'm thinking I got to go against Angela Hill here. She's very good. She's way better than an 18-15 record suggests. But she is getting older. She is starting to slow down a little bit. She's going to be shorter. Oh, okay. Fatima Klein, 5'6". Does Fatima Klein finish this fight inside the distance is the real question, because if you think yes, there's probably going to be some serious juice on that line. I'd be inclined to believe that she has a real opportunity to get it done inside the distance. So I'm going to go with Fatima Klein. Decision makes more sense, but I could see Angela Hill having slowed down just enough for Fatima Klein to figure out a way to get her out of there, whether that's a ground and pound finish or she is able to lock up a submission. So we're going to go with Fatima Klein here. Next, we have a featherweight bout between Chepe Mariscal and Pat Sabatini. You already know who I'm going with. Maybe you don't. I'm going with Chepe. That's my boy. Chepe Mariscal is an absolute dog. I just think he's more of a fighter than Pat Sabatini. Pat Sabatini, in his own respect, good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu. I guess he can ground and pound a little bit. He's not necessarily the funnest fighter to watch. We've seen some serious snoozers from Pat Sabatini. I don't usually try to hate on the fighters or talk shit about them too much, but Pat Sabatini's always got on my nerves for no reason. I mean, maybe there is a reason, but either way, doesn't matter. Chepe Mariscal is more of a dog. I don't think he's out of the water, or what do we call it? I don't think he's whatever the fuck. I don't think he's outmatched in the wrestling or jiu-jitsu that much. It's probably going to be closely contested in the wrestling battle. And in the jiu-jitsu scrambles, I think Chepe can hold his own. I believe he's going to have an advantage on the feet. He's going to have an advantage in toughness. And he's going to have an advantage in dog. So we're going to go with Chepe Mariscal. These guys have fought before. It was quite some time ago. I believe it was 9 years ago. They both evolved a lot as fighters. I would like to say Chepe's probably taken less damage since then. I mean, Pat Sabatini typically doesn't take all that much damage either. He has a wrestling heavy style, but he has gotten smoked. We've seen him get smoked. Obviously, you can't take much off him getting worked by Diego Lopez, but that could be a factor. Chepe Mariscal's a dog. He doesn't necessarily hit hard, but he overwhelms and he pressures. So I'm looking for Chepe Mariscal to get it done, probably by decision. Do I see him getting Sabatini out of there? I don't know. For me, on this fight, especially with my pick in Mariscal, I'm feeling pretty confident in it. He's already an underdog. I don't know if the odds have changed, but if he's a plus 110, I think there's enough value there. I don't need to go hunting for props. We're moving on. Now we have a bout between Kyle Daukaus and Gerald Meerschaert, GM3. At middleweight, Kyle Daukaus is fresh off his knockout over Michel Pereira, which happened in round 1. Absolute destruction. Made it look easy. Came in on short notice, if I'm not mistaken, in his return to the UFC and made an absolute statement. Michel Pereira has been putting on some stinkers anyway, so I'm glad Kyle Daukaus got a spot to look pretty solid. GM3, finisher, proven, 20 losses. Kyle Daukaus is looking more primed and ready to go. His hands looked great. I mean, from what we got to see against Michel Pereira, we didn't get to see that much, but we saw a violent finish. And the ability to finish in a violent fashion fits very well against an opponent like Gerald Meerschaert, because Gerald Meerschaert does, if you get on the ground with Gerald Meerschaert, you're in trouble. But Kyle Daukaus is pretty good in his own respect in the grappling. I think he'll be able to use takedown defense to keep this fight on the feet, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm thinking correctly, I think Kyle Daukaus will know that he has an advantage on the feet. Gerald Meerschaert does have good striking, but he is a little bit slow and he is getting older. So I'm going to go with Kyle Daukaus here to find a knockout over Gerald Meerschaert. Gerald Meerschaert always used to be a pig. I don't care if he's bro. I'm going with Gerald Meerschaert by sub. Can't hate on it. Still won't hate on it. I just don't think it's going to happen here. Kyle Daukaus is pretty solid. Minus 475 is pretty crazy though. He probably gets it done. I would say I'm going to take one little shot on this one, and it's going to be by knockout unless the odds are completely chalk. So we're going to go Kyle Daukaus by knockout here. And next fight, we got Malcolm Wellmaker, undefeated prospect with the right nuke against Cody Haddon. This fight is going to be solid. So it's going to be a stylistic clash here. We got the powerful, explosive striker against Cody Haddon, who is known to mix the martial arts. I think he's going to be able to work in his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu to potentially evade that devastating blow from Malcolm Wellmaker. I'm inclined here to take Cody Haddon. Everybody loves Malcolm Wellmaker. I do too. He's sick. But this is a tough fight, Of course, Malcolm Wellmaker could go out there, find an early finish, or just stop takedowns and keep the fight on the feet and get it done that way. But I have a feeling Cody Haddon here is being a little bit underrated, especially by the fan base. I've seen a lot of talk on social media about when are they going to give Malcolm Wellmaker a real opponent. I think he's got a real opponent here in Cody Haddon, and I think Cody Haddon is live to get it done, potentially by submission. Is he going to survive 3 rounds? All he needs is 1 takedown per round. I mean, we haven't really seen Wellmaker deal with too much adversity so far in his career. He's pretty much nuking everybody. Will he nuke Cody Haddon? Maybe. But I'd be willing to believe Cody Haddon's probably an underdog here. So I'm going to go with the underdog and Cody Haddon. I don't know if that's a popular underdog yet or not. I haven't really been looking too much. I have been seeing on Twitter, though, a lot of people hyping up Malcolm Wellmaker, and it is well-deserved. But let me get Cody Haddon here to mix the martial arts and win this fight as an underdog. That might be a bad one. That might age horribly, but fuck it. We're going with Cody Haddon. And next, we have a women's flyweight bout between Tracy Cortez and Erin Blanchfield. I want to pick Tracy Cortez here, but I'm typically a Tracy Cortez fader. Where is this fight going to take place? Both of these girls like to wrestle. Obviously, Erin Blanchfield, that's her whole game. She has some striking. I believe Tracy Cortez is going to have a significant advantage in the boxing and kickboxing department. So if I'm Tracy Cortez, I want this fight on the feet. If it gets to the ground, I don't worry too much for her. I don't think she's just going to get subbed up instantly like Molly McCann or Jessica Andrade. But this is a tough fight, man. I mean, basically, does Blanchfield get it down? And can Tracy Cortez get back up? Those are the questions that I need to see answered here. I like Tracy Cortez. She's a pretty solid fighter. She's pretty tough. Erin Blanchfield is a dog, though. Ooh, I want to go with Tracy Cortez, plus 205 underdog. I want to take Tracy here, but the head says Blanchfield. The heart says Tracy. I'll leave it at that. I guess for an official pick, I'm going to go with, you know what? Fuck it. I went with all favorites last week just based on what I saw. And I'm gonna be a little risky here. I'm going to go with Tracy Cortez. We're going to see how that takedown defense is holding up. Let's see how that get-up game and scramble game looks, and see how the boxing looks if she's able to keep it on the feet. I think she's definitely live to win. So I'm going to go with Tracy Cortez. Fuck it. Let's go. Tracy Cortez, 29-28 decision over Aaron Blanchfield. And next, a banger middleweight bout between RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez and Roman Kopylov. So this fight is tough. You gotta think RoboCop's taking this one here. Neither of these guys are too old. Roman Kopylov has probably taken a lot less damage in his career. Gregory Rodriguez, he loves the fire. He can get knocked out. He can knock people the fuck out. But Gregory Rodriguez has very, very good jiu-jitsu. If I'm Gregory Rodriguez, I'm thinking I might as well sub this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? This could easily be a striking contest where I think Gregory Rodriguez is still live in the striking. Roman Kopylov is very dangerous, very lethal striking, but so does RoboCop. So I think G-Rod can hold his own on the feet here, if not have the upper hand on the feet. And then if there is any danger and he feels it, he can get the fight to the ground and potentially win by sub or ground and pound TKO. I think cheeky sniper play, Gregory Rodriguez by submission. But like I said, if these lines are still looking like this, G-Rod at -170, there's some serious value there. Less than 2-1 odds for a guy that I feel pretty confident in. And we just saw Roman Kopylov lose to a Brazilian last time out. That was Paulo Costa, but this is RoboCop. Boy, he's going 0-2 against the Brazilians in his last two. Let me get G-Rod maybe by sub. I think inside the distance could be a solid play as well. He's dangerous. He's dangerous. Both of these guys are dangerous. The under here could also be a spot. Yeah, let me get RoboCop to not get chinned and to display a mixing of the martial arts. So let's go with G-Rod. Next, we got Bo Nickal and Rodolfo Vieira. You know, I almost wanted to take Rodolfo Vieira here, man. Bo Nickal didn't look too good against RDR in his last fight, and I haven't really been too high on RDR. I thought Bo Nickal should be able to get that one done. Obviously, we saw Rainer de Ridder beat Robert Whittaker. You know, that was a weird fight. And then get dominated by Brendan Allen. But Brendan Allen is somebody I've always rated highly. So I'm not going to take too much off Bo Nickal for losing that fight, especially in terms of like the size disadvantage that he had. Rodolfo Vieira doesn't have good wrestling. He has great jiu-jitsu. He has serviceable striking. We saw him outstrike Tresean Gore for 3 rounds in his last time out. Bo Nickal, we haven't really seen all too much of his striking. I know we saw him against Val Woodburn. He had that nice knockout. He outstruck Paul Craig over 3 rounds, but you know, that's Val Woodburn and Paul Craig. Does Rodolfo Vieira have better striking than them? Probably. Paul Craig can mix in some kicks, but Rodolfo Vieira's boxing is probably better than anybody Bo Nickal's fought so far. So on the feet, this fight might be close. I mean, it's just Bo Nickal's 29 years old. I feel like he has the opportunities to make leaps and bounds of improvements, you know. So I'm not ready to give up on Bo Nickal yet. He's 7-1. He's very inexperienced. He had to fight wherever the hell 1FC world champion and Rainer de Ridder in his last fight, and people are calling him a fraud because of it. I'm not ready to do that yet. This could be that fraud check though. Rodolfo Vieira cannot wrestle. So if he cannot use his jiu-jitsu against Bo Nickal, I don't see him winning this fight. You know, it's going to be close on the feet, but I think Bo Nickal can have the bigger moments. If he needs to work in his own wrestling, I believe he can stay safe in the jiu-jitsu department. Maybe. I mean, this is I think it's closer than the odds suggest, but I'm going to have to go with Bo Nickal here. You're not about to tell me I'm not picking Bo Nickal in this fight. I'm going to have to go with Bo Nickal to get it done. Method of victory, that part's going to be hard to say because I'm not super confident in this pick. I just feel like Bo Nickal has to win here, you know? And if he doesn't, that's a problem. So let's go Bo Nickal. Let's go American. Good old-fashioned American wrestling, baby. Bo Nickal to get it done. Probably on the scorecards, I can see him just outstriking Rodolfo Vieira over 3 rounds. Potentially, I know, who knows? Maybe he finds a knockout. I'm rooting for him, though. Let's go Bo Nickal. And now we are moving to the main card. We got bangers. Beneil Dariush and Beneil Saint-Denis. Benoit Saint-Denis and Beneil Dariush in a lightweight bout. Man, Benoit Saint-Denis, the favorite. I could easily see Benoit finding a knockout on the feet. I think Beneil Dariush is going to have the advantage in the wrestling and grappling department. I think Beneil Dariush is a better fighter, but he has been chinned. He has taken a lot of damage. I want to go with Benny. I want to go with Benny. But the other Benny is only 29 years old and has taken in his own respect, a decent amount of damage as well. Renato Moicano fucked him up. Dustin Poirier fucked him up. But he is younger. His durability is probably at this point going to be a little bit better. I want to take Benny Dariush, but I just see him getting chinned. Benoit Saint-Denis has some momentum right now. So does Benny Dariush in his own respect. He's coming off that win against Renato Moicano, who beat the shit out of Benoit Saint-Denis. But like we know, MMA math does not work. Fuck. I should have made a concrete pick on this one before I started this. I was going to pick Benny. It's the battle of the Bennies here, man. In the battle of the Bennies, let me take... I got to go with Benoit Saint-Denis. I just think that there's a higher likelihood Benoit Saint-Denis finds a devastating blow to finish the fight than Benny Dariush does. Benny Dariush has power in his own respect, but the younger, more durable fighter in Saint-Denis is probably going to get it done. So let me get Benoit Saint-Denis against what my heart says. I'm going with my head on this pick, but just know I'm rooting for Benny Dariush, baby. I'm always rooting for Benny Dariush. Let's go. Next bout. Oh my God, this one is sick. Welterweight bout between Carlos Prates and former champion Leon Edwards. You know who I'm going with. Carlos Prates to get it done by, dare I say, submission. Carlos Prates has jits. Leon Edwards has some pretty solid striking. I think Carlos Prates will be the better striker here, the more dangerous striker. Somehow he's shorter than Leon Edwards. I feel like there's no way he's shorter than Leon Edwards, but he's going to have a reach advantage. Based on what I'm seeing here, 6'1" versus 6'2". Somehow Prates is shorter. I feel like that's not right. But Carlos Prates is dangerous. He's surging. He is in a good spot here, man. This is going to really propel him up in the rankings. I believe he is the number 9th ranked contender, and Leon Edwards is sitting at number 3. So this is a huge opportunity for Prates. He did very well against Ian Gary, at least in the later stages of the fight. We know that he has cardio, but this is going to be a 3-round fight, so he doesn't necessarily need it. I believe he'll be able to be a little bit more aggressive. I don't think he's going to have to worry too much about a takedown threat from Leon Edwards. I believe Leon Edwards will try to wrestle in this fight, though. When he feels that power and he feels that striking, he may try to wrestle. I could really see a likelihood of Carlos Prates winning this fight by submission. He typically does not win by submission, but I think he is live to get it done. Inside the distance is probably going to be my favorite call for this one, but I'm all in on Carlos Prates, have been for a while. I picked Ian Gary over Carlos Prates, by the way. I've been navigating these Carlos Prates fights proper, and I think this is a very good spot for Carlos Prates to get it done. I don't think Leon Edwards has the same ability to move and avoid damage that Ian Gary has. So give me Carlos Prates to have the bigger moments and potentially find a finish in this fight. Man, this card is sick. God. All right, we got welterweight bout between Michael Morales and Sean Brady. 18-1 versus 18-0. This is a banger, man. I've been really wanting to see Sean Brady versus Islam, so I'm kind of pulling for Sean Brady here. And I would love to see him in a American versus Dagestani wrestling and grappling match. For some reason, that just excites me a lot. Sean Brady versus Islam, the thought of it. I do think Michael Morales is live here. He's a very slight underdog. He's going to be taller. He's going to be longer. He's going to have the striking advantage, the power advantage. He's a good wrestler in his own respect. Where does this fight take place? If it takes place on the feet, Morales finds a knockout. If Sean Brady is able to get off his wrestling, Sean Brady's going to win by submission. So I guess if you're looking at this fight, what do you think is going to happen? Can Michael Morales defend the takedown or not? If he can't, this is Sean Brady's fight. If he can, Morales is probably going to win by knockout. And I'm going to lean Sean Brady here, but something is telling me Michael Morales is going to find a knockout and derail Sean Brady's momentum. Fuck. Some of these fights are hard to pick, man. I've been high on Sean Brady, though. I mean, I actually haven't been high on Sean Brady. He almost lost to Michael Chiesa. Bilal Muhammad beat his ass, but Bilal Muhammad's pretty good. And also, Bilal Muhammad is a much better wrestler than Michael Morales. You know, I'm going to go with Sean Brady here in that he's more primed and ready to go. This is a stiff test for Michael Morales. I do think Michael Morales is live. So if you're watching this, just remember that part of me really wants to pick Michael Morales. I just got to go with my initial pick in Sean Brady. I think he'll be able to dictate the pace of the fight, not get smoked on the feet in 30 seconds, and work in wrestling and potentially find a submission victory here and make that call for the next title shot. Yeah, yeah. I want to see Sean Brady and Islam, so let me get Sean Brady. And next we have a women's flyweight title bout between Zhang Wei Li and Valentina Shevchenko. I'm going with Zhang Wei Li. I could easily see Valentina Shevchenko winning another one via wrestling, but I don't want to see it. I don't want to imagine it. I want to go with Zhang Wei Li, who I think is like the most talented fighter we've seen in such a long time. Valentina Shevchenko, obviously, she's a beast. Her game has completely changed. She was previously a striker, and now she is Valentina Shevchenkonov. Even though Shevchenko's Russian sounding enough, but she has been winning fights with wrestling and pressure. Although we've still seen glimpses of greatness in the striking department, she typically likes to play it safer. And Zhang Wei Li isn't very young in her own respect either. She's 36. She's moving up in weight. She was very dominant champion, now looking for a belt in a second division. So I got to go with Zhang Wei Li. I just love Zhang Wei Li. I think that she has the tools to get it done. She's well-rounded enough that I don't think she gets smoked in the wrestling. And I think her striking is crisp enough where she can hold her own on the feet as well, potentially have the bigger moments. I think she's going to be the faster fighter here, the more explosive fighter at this point in their careers. And I think she's going to be more willing to jump into the fire when Shevchenko might not necessarily panic wrestle, but kind of look to span the wrestling a little bit. But, Shevchenko's one of the GOATs, It doesn't really show as much in her recent fights, the transformation of her game, but she's doing what she needs to do to get it done, and she's still winning. So outside of that submission loss and then draw, which I thought she lost to Alexa Grasso, Shevchenko, her only losses are to Grasso, twice to Nunes, and I can't remember off the top who else she lost to, but I'm going to go with Zhang Wei Li here. This is a biased pick, but I think Zhang Wei Li can go toe-to-toe with her in the wrestling, grappling, and striking, and I think she's going to be able to have the bigger moments in this fight. So let me get Zhang Wei Li. I really want her to win. I love Zhang Wei Li. Let's go. And new. And we have our main event. We have our main event between Jack Della Maddalena, the welterweight champion, and Islam Makhachev stepping up to welterweight to take on the champ. I mean, I got to go with Islam. I think Jack Della Maddalena is live here, and he's a plus 215 underdog. Oh my God. I like Islam, and I like Jack Della. I want to pick Jack Della Maddalena, but if I'm trying to get my picks right, this is not my bets. This is my picks. I'm trying to be correct and accurate with my picks. If I'm making a betting video, I'm making a betting video. And if I'm making a betting video, I might be taking a dog shot on Jack Della Maddalena. But if I'm trying to make a smart pick here, Islam Makhachev has serviceable striking. He has good knees up the middle. He uses his boxing and his kicks well. He's a pretty big dude for lightweight, so I don't think he's going to be outsized all too much here at welterweight. He's going to have to cut less weight. He could be a lot stronger, and his wrestling is second to none. He trains with Khabib. That's the homie. I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev here. He's going for glory. He seems primed and ready to go. I was watching Embedded. He's out fishing in New Jersey. He's vibing. And Jack Della Maddalena is definitely feeling the pressure against a potential all-time great. And not that he's feeling the pressure as he's stressed, but he's all serious, no games. Makhachev is more relaxed and, ready to be. And I don't know. I'm seeing vibes, and I'm seeing Islam Makhachev have more success than Belal Muhammad did in the wrestling department. I believe Makhachev is a better striker than Belal as well. So, this is going to be a tough fight for Della. And I don't care who wins this fight. Whoever wins this fight, I'll be happy for him. I'm a fan of both of these guys. But the head's telling me Islam Makhachev is going to be able to dictate where this fight takes place, whether it be on the feet. I don't think he's going to want to keep it on the feet for too long, but I believe he will be willing to engage in the striking just to set up the wrestling and keep Jack Della Maddalena guessing. Could he get knocked out? We've seen it once before. That was quite some time ago. But let me get Islam Makhachev to win this fight. Yeah, I like Islam. And then we're going to do the quick recap just for the tiki-taki. So let me get Baisangor Susarkayev full camp by knockout over Eric McConaughey. Angela is over the hill. Fatima Klein will be inclined to... We're going to restart that one time for the TikTok. Let me get Baisangor Susarkayev on a full camp to get the knockout over Eric McConaughey. I'm inclined to think that Fatima Klein is going to be able to get it done against Angela over the hill. She's getting older. She's getting slower. Fatima Klein is primed and ready to go. Then let me get Chepe Mariscal in an anticipated rematch over my most hated fighter, Pat Sabatini. I think he's going to outdog him. Gerald Meerschaert, he's getting a little bit older. Kyle Dawkins is surging right now. I think he's going to find a knockout on the feet, avoiding the grappling and getting it done inside the distance. Malcolm Wellmaker versus Cody Haddon. Avoid the nuke, mix the martial arts. Cody Haddon by decision. Let's go. Or submission. And this is a tough one, man. Tracy Cortez, Aaron Blanchfield. Can she keep it on the feet? If so, let me get Tracy by decision, 29-28. Gregory Rodriguez outstrikes the striker in Roman Kopylov, and if he senses danger, he's going to get the takedown and find a submission or ground and pound finish. Let me get G-Rod inside the distance over Roman Kopylov. Bo Nickel in a sweat against Rodolfo Vieira. Do not find yourself in the grappling exchanges with this guy. Wrestle top heavy pressure if necessary, but outstrike him on the feet. 30-27 decision for Bo Nickel. Let's go. I want to take Benny, but I'm going to have to go with the other Benny. The Frenchman is going to be a little bit more durable. He's taken a little bit less punishment. He's gotten his lights put out a little bit less than Benny Dariush. I want to pick Benny Dariush, but I can't. Let me get Benoit Saint-Denis by knockout. And then next, Carlos Prates inside the distance over Leon Edwards. He's going to be too much, and if he needs to grapple, he will, and he can find a submission. But I think it's going to be a knockout. Maybe. I have no idea. Carlos Prates wins this fight. I wanted to pick Michael, but I got to pick Sean Brady. I want to see Sean Brady and Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev versus Sean Brady is a banger. Sean Brady will be able to get this fight to the ground, and once he does, it is his world there. And Michael Morales is going to be in a lot of danger for a submission. So let me get Sean Brady by submission. And then let me go with my favorite, Zhang Wei Li. Bias pick. I'm taking Zhang Wei Li all day. Main event, head says Makhachev, so I got to go with it. Islam Makhachev to get this fight done. He's going to be too much for Jack Della Maddalena. And these are the picks. I appreciate everybody for watching. If you were here, throw a like, throw a sub. You know we're coming back with the consistency. I'll drop a best bet video on Thursday where I go over props, parlays, favorite underdogs, and everything like that. I appreciate everybody for watching. And UFC 322 is going to be an absolute banger. It is this Saturday. Make sure you always do your own research. You always bet responsibly. And most importantly, enjoy the fights, everybody. Let's go.